I have a hard time finding barbecue sauce here in Europe. I can find it, but it's usually really too sweet, and I kind of miss it. So I'm going to make some today. We'll start with tomato sauce. You want the kind that doesn't have any basil or oregano in it. So tomato sauce. Worcestershire. I'm going to have to dip into my 3-week supply of lamb parents. Cider vinegar. Molasses. Molasses is really a hard thing to find here. Got some sea salt, some strong paprika, a little bit of celery seed, some smoked paprika, ketchup. It's also a hard thing to find here. You can find it, but it's not quite right. Granulated garlic, powdered mustard, dried shallots, dried onion. If you can't find dried shallots, don't worry about it. Cayenne pepper, that's a kind of a to-taste thing. Black pepper. I got 1 large shallot and 3 toes of garlic that I'm going to puree. And I've also got a little bit of these little green peppers that are in vinegar, and I'm going to puree those as well and add them in. So I'm going to go ahead and puree this stuff off camera because it makes so much noise and nobody needs to watch a blender. And then we'll assemble it together. I'm going to start with my tomato sauce. This is 750 milliliters, or as my grandparents would have said, a fifth, because it's a fifth of a gallon. That's a pleasant noise. And I hate the waste. So I'll go ahead and add my 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar here. The recipe really, I think you need a 1/2 cup, but I have about a 1/2 cup in here of vinegar where I pureed my peppers and shallots and garlic. So if you're not adding those pickled peppers, which is an optional ingredient, then you'd want a 1/2 cup of cider vinegar here. Also a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire. Okay, maybe a 1/2 cup. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove on at this point. Medium low. This is 400 milliliters or 1 big jar of ketchup.
Have a great respect for the mountain. We call every single one.
Gee, there's a lot of ketchup left in there. Hold on a second.
Western people approach it as a physical challenge. Push a limit to see how close you can get to death. But there's 1,000-year-old stories we have about the mountains, its history. And I think some people adapt and learn and respect it. Some people don't.
I'm a firm believer in quality control. So about a third of a beer. solid half cup of molasses. I'm not going to use any other sweeteners. So most people use some brown sugar, which is really just table sugar with molasses in it. Or they'll use some honey, and I think honey's too sweet. Full teaspoon of salt. Half teaspoon of celery seed.
I can die in any way the fates choose. That's not up to me. But what is within my power is to decide how I live. Courageously or timidly.
2 heaping teaspoons of smoked paprika. Call it a level teaspoon of spicy paprika. Teaspoon of granulated garlic. Two teaspoons of mustard. Heaping teaspoon of granulated onion. Bunch of black pepper, because I like black pepper. And a fair amount of cayenne. That's really all up to you. Stir it all in. One thing is the tomato sauce that you get here is really pretty thick. This one said it has 22 tomatoes in this box. So that means there's not a lot of water. Because I want this to cook, I'm going to need some extra beer. We better find some more beer. It won't matter at all for the sauce, but it makes it harder for me to do quality control. You really don't know what it tastes like until it gets hot and the spices start to cook in, but I want to get an idea now. Needs more vinegar. It may need more mustard, but I'll wait until it's cooked for a while to decide that. Yeah, the vinegar helped a lot. do is I'm going to let this cook. I'm going to let it simmer for at least half an hour. Taste it and adjust the seasonings again. Wow, I'm really super happy with that. So I'll wash and rinse these little canning jars. It's cute, aren't they? This really has come out nice. And I'll tell you what I think it is the ingredients are different. It's always better to make your own sauce because you can control the seasonings. You can control how much heat you want, how much smokiness you want. But here, a lot of things taste different than they do in the US. And that's because even big companies like Heinz and Coca-Cola don't have products that meet health standards in Europe. So Heinz and Coca-Cola are made in France with a lot less sugar in them. And I think that really tells you something about the quality and the safety of a lot of foods that we kind of take for granted in the United States. That maybe we shouldn't be eating so much Coca-Cola and ketchup. I guess that's really not a surprise to anybody that stuff's not very healthy. But I think if I was making this in the United States again, that I might see if I could, what kind of ketchup I could find, or what kind of tomato sauce I could find at a health food store. As opposed to just buying something off the counter here out of the grocery store. So I think that's really important. Now this would be good a couple of weeks in the refrigerator. It's got a lot of vinegar in it. But obviously I don't want to have to make this fresh every time I want barbecue, because I want barbecue kind of a lot, kind of often. And also I think canning stuff, it definitely changes the flavor of it. Goal here is 10 minutes at the high setting pressure. All right, 10 minutes later, and I just let it cool until it loses pressure. Looks good. Looks good. obviously something leaked. So this will be interesting to figure out. And I think it's this one, because that gasket looks funny. And these jars, you notice, are a little different than probably what you're used to in America. But I kind of like them. It took me a few runs to realize that even though I don't have the metal lid that compresses, I can still check the seal. As soon as these cool a little bit, I can just undo this latch and and tug on the lid a little bit. If it doesn't open, then I have a good seal. And it's possible that whatever leaked, which again I suspect this one, that I still have a good seal, that it seated itself after it leaked. But we'll find out. It's pretty cool to watch these still boiling. Now that I've changed the pressure, I've changed the boiling point. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be good. We'll have at least 6 little jars. It's really interesting to go to a grocery store here and look in the American aisle, because I think they just put stuff there that at random that they don't know where to put anywhere else. So there's a supermarché pretty close to the apartment here, and this picture is from what they put there. Couldn't find barbecue sauce here, but it wasn't too far away on the mayonnaise aisle. Okay, so I guess that works.